Hi, Mark. How's things?
I'm very well indeed. Look, all they're trying to do is bring down the cost of energy. Very sensible.
They've offered the tenants a massive increase in prices or no hot water at all, which I think in current circumstances may just have to be, it may indeed be a reasonably sensible thing to do. The problem is that the tenants are they're captured. They have nowhere else to go. Their hot water comes from the council. And so they're stuck. And this is the problem. As soon as you give control to the state, you run this risk that the state is going to shoot you in the back. We see this coming with smart meters, because smart meters will give people the ability to switch off your power when the wind isn't blowing. And there's no electricity. The government, it looks as though they're soon going to get their hands on on those smart meters. They will have there will be a central ability to switch people off. So essentially, control is handed over. And yes, it is. There is no doubt, I think, that rationing will happen, because, as we found out in the last week, when the wind doesn't blow, we aren't going to have power. Fossil fuels are going. We were kept afloat over the last few days by coal and nuclear. But the coal and nuclear is going to be shut down over the next few years. So there will be nothing except the wind. And if we're lucky, something might come over the interconnectors from France. In reality, though, if we get a 3-week lull in the wind, there will be nothing. And at that point, they will start switching us off and we will be rationed. And it's quite frightening.
It has echoes of communist China, doesn't it? Give them an inch, the authorities, and they will take a mile.
Yeah, they are completely blind, I think, to what is going on in households. I was watching a committee in Parliament today talking about energy. And the consumer interest didn't come into it at all. They just didn't care. The only thing they care about is hitting this, if you like, this quasi-religious net zero target. They seriously believe that they're saving the planet, and that if some people freeze along the way, well, I think they view that as collateral damage. It's just unfortunate, but it's got to happen. And I'm actually rather scared by what our politicians are doing. They have completely lost sight of people suffering, and people are suffering this winter.
Although, Andrew, let me ask you whether it's really a problem if you can't have a hot bath at 4 a.m. That's not exactly a privation, is it? If you look at what this local authority is planning to do, people will have access to hot water and the boiler for most of the day.
Yeah, of course. And there are people pointing out that people work shifts and actually, as they come back from the night shift, would quite like to have a shower or a bath when they come home. I mean, this is a basic human requirement, that you can get hot running water when you need it. To say that you can't have it is preposterous, really. Now, as I said before, I think the price of power has gone up and the council are stuck in a hard place. They probably do have to put up prices, but I think we probably have to sit back from this and look at the big picture, which is that we have, for the last 20 years, made a complete hash of energy policy. In a sane world, we would still have coal-fired power stations producing power cheaply so that people can have that basic requirement of heat, light, and hot water when they need it.
Although, of course, others would argue, Andrew, that with those policies, we have drastically reduced our carbon footprints. I've got one quick personal question for you. You're up there in Scotland. Whereabouts in Scotland, by the way?
I'm in Kinross.
Beautiful part of the world. You've got a radiator behind you. When's Nicola Sturgeon going to be switching it off?
Quite soon. She is scarily green. There are all sorts of things coming that really quite frighten me.
There you go. Look, it's great to have you on the show, Andrew. Thank you for sharing your wit and wisdom with us. Andrew Montford is the Deputy Director of Net Zero Watch. Thanks, Andrew. Well, we've been in touch with Islington Council. Well done, producer Melissa, for getting a response. And Councillor Una O'Halloran has told my team, we consulted residents and more than 2/3 of respondents, 67% backed the plan or wanted us to go further to reduce services. Communal heating systems don't currently allow every resident to make their own decisions about how much to use the boiler. Ultimately, in this instance, a difficult decision had to be made in the interests of the majority.